Hi, everybody. It's Kara Mars here. Welcome to episode four. Episode four, that's crazy, of our GLP-1 Support Squad, Body, Mind, and Spirit. My name's Kara Mars, and I want to welcome you along with my friends Kris and Alyssa from Shore Holistic Nutrition and Wellness. We are so glad that you're here. And it's been one of those crazy weeks, 10 days, just one of those like you just want to tear your hair out of your skull, or sometimes it just falls out of your skull when it gets this stressful. um Not mine yet, but who knows. The roof could cave in, who knows. It's just been one of those days. And I know, like, in the past, as someone coming from large numbers, my comfort was food, right? When I had the stress and the craziness, I had the food. And I don't have the food anymore. Thank you. Thank you, GLP-1 and GLP for not, or GIP for not having that. But what are we doing instead, right? How are we managing our stress load? So I had noticed with myself that the past 2, 3 weeks, I'm up zero point 0.8 of a pound. I'm down 0.8 of a pound. I'm up 0.8 of a pound. I'm down 0.8. For the past 4 weeks, I'm like at the same crazy levels, but I haven't changed any of my food. My calories are the same. My workouts are the same. All of that, but my stress level has been out of control. Now, you don't, I mean, you know what Kris does for a living. She's an energy healer. And you know what Alyssa does. She's, the body. You don't know what I do for a living. So I am a celebrity personal assistant, and I support two different people. And it's either like they both need you, an emergency at the same time, or they don't really need you at all. And you're just your basic, here's your calendar, here's this. So you never know when you're going to just need to be there for them. So I'm basically a caregiver, right? In some ways. I'm just helping the rich. So, and you know what? And they hire me to take the stress off of them. So add one stress here, one stress there. And I'm also on a couple of boards, and life gets crazy sometimes, but I'm glad and I'm grateful, and I'm happy, and I love what I do, but sometimes it gets out of control. So I was thinking, why isn't my weight moving? What's going on? And then we were starting to talk earlier before we hit record. Does stress have anything to do with holding on to the weight? Why is this happening? So we want to open up the conversation. So Kris, what do you think?
Well, I've been tracking my weight weekly since February. So I've been really disciplined about it. I have a partner that we call each other at a specific time each week. We both get on the scale, we record our weight, we talk about what went well, what maybe didn't go well. And what I can say is there is certainly no rhyme or reason to what I am seeing on the scale sometimes. It's just the truth. I went up 1/8 of a pound this week, and there's absolutely no reason whatsoever, as far as exercise and diet goes, that it would go up. I had four amazing workouts, 2-hour workouts, 4 times a week. I'm upping all of my intensity on my treadmill and on my recumbent bike and on the Stairmaster, and I'm doing more weightlifting than ever before. So that is going up. I'm able to do more, lift more, go longer on the treadmill. So that's been really, really exciting. And I did gain 2 pounds of muscle in 2 months. So that's a very good thing. But there is no other reason, but I also had a very stressful week. I needed to get a passport renewal. I procrastinated a little bit. Now I've got to do the expedited. And so I had a little bit of a wiggle room in my time on Monday to get the pictures done. I'd done everything else. I found my old passport. I'd done the application. I filled everything out, but you have to get new pictures done. And so I went to one of my local CVS's, and they're like, yeah, we don't have staff to do that. But I live in an area surrounded by CVSs. I was like, that's all right. I'm just going to go to another one. I go to a second CVS, and there's one person for the entire store. And she goes, yeah, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, oh my God, people don't know how to take pictures. What is going on? Then I go to the third one. I go to a big one that I know is going to have multiple people there. And I walk in, and the woman behind the counter says to me, Oh yeah, the entire system for all of the photo system for the CVSs in the Northeast went down for an unspecified amount of time. Well, it was like, well, I guess I'm not getting it done at CVS, right? So it was something I did end up getting my pictures and it ended up working out, but something that should have taken 10 minutes, 15 minutes, ended up taking 3 hours out of my time that I didn't have, and a whole lot of frustration. I was hoping that everything was just going to fall into line and it just didn't. This was Monday. It was a full moon. For those of you who follow astrology, we're in Mercury in retrograde. Mercury in retrograde, I've been skeptical of astrology for my entire lifetime, but Mercury in retrograde I know is the real deal, because I'd be in my 20s and certain times of year I'd be like, I feel out of sorts. I feel weird. I feel a strange energy in my body. Nothing's working. Everything's breaking down. And then I finally matched it up with the knowledge of Mercury in retrograde. So now I do pay attention to it for sure. So yeah, so I also had a lot of stress going up this week. And when that stress went up, for me, it was an exercise in how am I going to speak to myself about this? Because the initial reaction was an eighth of a pound. OMG, are you serious? Like, how is this even possible? And frustration, and I'm talking to my weigh-in partner and she's like, that's not that bad, and I'm like, dude, I'm taking a drug that's supposed to make this impossible, so it's not okay. She is not on the weight loss medications. She's doing intermittent fasting, calorie restriction. So I had my little blow up, but then it was really important for me to not turn this around against me, because I know I really am doing the best that I can, even with managing the stress. And I work with people a lot of times on really traumatic experiences or painful things that they're going through. And I love my work more than anything. I get excited when I wake up in the morning about what I get to do. But there is no phoning it in. I've got to be 100% present for the people that I'm working with. And so it's a lot of responsibility. So one of the things that I have really changed in the past year is how I speak to myself, because it's very, very easy. If we grew up in a household where there was any kind of criticisms, perfectionism, or that kind of behavior being reflected for us, we can internalize that voice and make it our own. And so we are constantly setting goals and then we don't meet them. And then we're yelling at ourselves and we're being like, I got to do better. I'm not good enough. All these different ways that we beat up on ourselves. And what I want to say to you all is, having worked with professional athletes, having worked with highly successful people in every field that you can imagine, including acting, those people, if they don't feel good about themselves on the inside, there is no success, because they could have all the money and all the fame in the world, but if they don't love themselves and treat themselves with kindness and compassion, they feel terrible, and it affects their emotional well-being, and it affects their ability to have healthy relationships and connection, which is something that we are biologically designed for, and yet living in a time that it's hard to connect. And so I'm going to ask my two partners here on the squad, what are some things that they find themselves saying to themselves that may be hurtful or painful? So, Kara, I'm going to start with you. What are some of the messages? Maybe you bump your toe on something and you go, I'm such an idiot. What are some of those responsive, reactive things you find yourself saying to yourself?
Right. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I didn't do that. Listen to your inner voice. It told you to do that and you didn't do it anyway. All of that stuff. And or even you're never going to get a boyfriend, or all of that
Oh,
stuff, right?
wow.
You've got all of that self-talk and the denial and all of that. And so I know a lot of the times I'll catch myself because of how many years have I worked with you, right? I'll catch myself and I'll go cancel, 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 and redirect my brain, but still it happened. And when you're just not even thinking about it, it just comes out of your head or comes
Yes.
into your head, right? And it's
Yes.
just it's yeah, on a daily, and especially attention to detail is very important in my job. You've
I
got to put in the
bet.
right flight information and the times and the drivers and the housekeepers and the deliveries and all of that stuff. And, I have to check and double check. And sometimes I don't. It's like, God, I can't believe you didn't double check that. What happened? And and I know I'm good at my job. I'm like one of the top, I'm good at my job. So it's just I have to keep that in my head, you know?
Well, you said something really important there. You said it comes out of me. And what I want to let everyone know is this is subconscious programming. This is stuff that's operating in the subconscious mind. And it does come out in those moments when you really don't expect it. And those are really important messages to catch and to turn around. Like, I'm literally shocked, Kara, that you think that you would call yourself stupid ever, because you're one of the smartest people that I know. Like, smart emotionally, smart intellectually. I mean, you're smart on all the different levels, which is very unusual. But we know that this is not logical. We know that this is not fact-based, right? It's just based on old ideas. And as one of my favorite energy healing teachers, the great Donna Eden, says, your body hears every word you say. And so maybe you're not ready yet to speak to your body with kindness and compassion, but what if you started with just the rest of you? What if you just started catching those thoughts? You can tap on them, you can journal them, to neutralize the charge of them, and then put in the positive opposite. So if the message is I'm so stupid, the positive opposite is I am brilliant. I am filled with great ideas. I am doing the best that I can on an everyday basis, right? So it goes into something positive, or maybe even just neutral. Maybe you just start with something neutral, but at least you're not saying something that is detrimental. And feel the difference when you change the languaging too. Those of you that may consider yourself as highly sensitive or empaths, you'll feel the difference in your body as you're speaking those messages. And it's really important as we're on a shedding weight journey that we be more in touch with our bodies, because I know for myself, I got up to this weight being disconnected from my own body. Living a neck up only experience. This didn't feel like a safe area. And so I just stayed up here. There were times in my 20s, I don't think I even looked at my body from the neck down, you know? So getting back in touch with the sensations and the messaging of the body is going to be such an important part of this journey as we move along, not just shedding the excess weight and becoming smaller, but also becoming more in tune with the messages that our body is sharing with us all the time. So, Alyssa, what about you as someone who's not a large person? As we were getting on the call, you said everybody says things to themselves, not just big people, all kinds of people. So have you ever found yourself saying certain messages that have been hurtful to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the few things that come up for me is like if something happens that is like maybe not a good thing, and it's more of I go into like this victim thing, like why is this happening to me? Like why does this always happen? So I feel like that comes up a lot, and like worthiness always comes up, not being worthy, and also comparison for me comes up a lot of comparing myself to others, and and then I get into this whole like cycle, and yeah, so those are, I would say, like the big three things that come up for me.
Can I just chime in on the comparison? I didn't even realize that I compared, but when I go to the different social media sites and someone says, "Oh, I've been on the GLP-1 for 4 weeks and I'm down 37 pounds." First of all, I'm like, "Nuh-uh." And then second of all, I'm like, "Really? How come I'm only down? Wait a minute. How many weeks have I been on? And I'm what?" And I compare myself to that, and it's probably not even true, although it might be. But who am I to judge, right? Who am I, right? But I'm like, I want to see before and afters. So, and and I'll go to their profile, their main profile, and look. And I'm like, let me see. So comparing, yes, absolutely, and that's horrible. That's what? Why do we do that? your journey is my journey, is her journey. You know, why? We're all in this together. Why are we comparing? And oh yeah.
Well, I'm going to share with you both why I think we do that. And I think it is because within what we're comparing ourselves with, we believe that someone else has something that we want or has achieved a state that we want to have or the results that we want to have, and we don't think that we can have it. So that's where that comparison stuff comes up. Because if we believe that we were all going to get to where we needed to go in the right and perfect timing for our own individual systems, we wouldn't be so upset about that, right? We would just cheer them on. Although I have found myself saying, as I've been talking to different friends and letting them know that I'm doing Wegovy, who don't know about it, I've said to them, well, you may have heard the people that have been on it for 6 months and released 150 pounds. That hasn't been what the journey has been like for me. So I do say that to them because, of course, that's the stories in the media that people are paying attention to. So the comparison thing, worthiness is such a good thing to bring up, Alyssa, right? Do we feel worthy of our best lives? Our best lives, our healthiest bodies, our happiest bodies, our healthiest relationships, our career that we really, really love. When we look at all of it, how worthy and deserving do we feel of that? And so that is something that you can start to affirm. I am worthy and deserving of all of the good in the universe, right? I am worthy and deserving of being in a happy, healthy body. I am worthy and deserving of loving myself, and I'm not withholding it. I'm giving that to myself right now. So, affirmations are a really great way of turning around these beliefs, but I like to get rid of the charge of the negative beliefs first, because otherwise then you've got two competing beliefs that are canceling each other out. So if you're a tapper, tapping on those negative ideas, and you'll know that the tapping has worked when you sense a cognitive shift. So if the message is, I'm not worthy of being successful, for example, and then you find yourself sort of laughing about it as you're tapping, or you find yourself saying, that's not true. I'm a really good person. I'm really good at what I do. I am worthy of being successful. Then that's what we call in EFT or tapping a cognitive shift. But we're not forcing it. The shift comes as a result of neutralizing the negative belief. And then as we do that, you can tap in the positive beliefs. We want to do it when the subconscious is, we're able to access it really easily. Right before you go to bed and as soon as you get up in the morning are really vital, fertile times to be visualizing or affirming the way you want to feel and the experiences that you want to have. And, you can keep them kind of general if you want to do that and just see what shows up. But absolutely, it's important that we feel worthy of having the lives we really want. And we get a lot of messaging all the time about how worthy we are or not, but those messages don't have anything to do with the reality of who we are.
Wow. Thanks, Kris. Wow, that's really good. So, like when you say in the morning when we get up, so we start out, just wake up and be like, oh, I am worthy of this beautiful day. I am worthy of all the abundance of the world. I am worthy of life. Life is great. Yeah, that's fun, right?
Yeah, listen, if you're going into sleep, that's good because then you're letting that sort of seep in. And when you get up in the morning, don't we want to start with, I'm embracing this day, and today I'm going to look for all of the ways that I'm worthy of love and health and happiness. I'm going to look for that. I'm allowing myself to see all the signs of it that are all around me. I mean, isn't that better than, oh my God, I got to get up, my knee, oh dear God, I've got to get out of bed. Oh, wow. Oh, I feel so stiff. I mean, shouldn't we start with something like that? And what I like to do first thing in the morning, just to get my energy engine rolling, is the collarbone point in EFT, which in acupuncture is called K27. It responds to the kidneys, and kidneys in traditional Chinese medicine is life force. So I tap on my K27 on my kidney points or collarbone points first thing in the morning to turn my furnace on, to get my engine revved up, to get my energy moving in the right direction. And traditional Chinese medicine doctors believe that kidney energy, kidney qi, the kidneys and the kidney meridians, which are just energy pathways, are a huge part of weight. So this is something that everybody could just implement this week. And when you wake up in the morning, laying in bed, just tap on these points. You could do a flat hand. That's what some people like to do. But get your engine rolling. And while you're getting your engine rolling, have something. If you don't think that you're going to remember it, have something written on a piece of paper next to your bed and pick that up and say, I'm worthy of having a great day. I'm worthy of finding all the ways my body's working well today. There's so many different amazing affirmations out there, and they're in all of my books as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Kris. And I think also because kidney, right? Kidney is one of the on the piece of paper that comes with the drug, right? It says kidney, pancreas, liver, a gallbladder. So that's another thing to keep that organ strong in the energy sense. So that's good too. So Alyssa, so when we're not, Kris and I are not releasing and we're bringing in more of these numbers on the scale. And of course, we could say, well, we're building muscle and blah, 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 right? That's not what we want to see, right? That's not why we get on that scale. That's like, what? So what is I mean, I'm sure it was stress. I'm sure, but I don't know for sure. But what from a medical standpoint, what is it?
Yeah, so stress can absolutely affect, your weight. And so when you're stressed, your body's releasing more cortisol. And cortisol will, that's your stress hormone, and that will help to promote like holding on to weight, right? Because if your body is in this like fight or flight mode, it thinks you're going to war, right? It thinks like you're going to be running from like a tiger, and you need all of your energy, your fat, you need all of that to help your body to prepare for that war, or for that to run from a bear, right? So that's what your body is. And so many of us are in this chronic flight or fight mode. And I just think it's our society, right? It's like, and if you're a mom, right, you're a working mom, you're taking care of your kids, like you're not doing things for yourself, right? It's just like a run, like get the kids out the door, go to work, after work, okay, get dinner ready. Like, it's just like this run. And I think I can't stress how important it is to like really slow down and kind of get out of that mode. Me, like as I'm a mom, and I, have my own business, but yeah, I have to often like take a step back and just say like, okay, I need to have a day to just like rest or relax, because it will affects my health as well. So, so some of my favorite tools to help me get out of this fight or flight mode, as Kris said, EFT, the tapping is one of my favorite tools. I try to do it every day. Sometimes I don't. But I just feel such a different energy for the day when I do that. Sometimes I'm even doing it like in the car driving to work, because I'm like, oh, I don't have time to sit there for 5 minutes before I like get my son off to school. And so I'm like tapping like as I'm driving, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I do it. Like, I don't care where I do it. And then also another thing I love is taking a bath. So at nighttime, if you have, 20, 30 minutes to just sit in the bath. I personally like to put like Epsom salt in the bath. You can add essential oils like lavender, just like calming things, and just like being present in the moment, and not like thinking about the 500 things you have to do after you get out of the bath. Another thing that I really love, and I encourage all of my patients to do this as well, right? Because I love supplements, but it's more than just supplements. We need to actually like reprogram our bodies, our minds from this chronic stress state. It's just that's what we're living in. So we need to help reprogram our body. So another thing I love is yoga. You can do, like a 10-minute yoga routine. It doesn't have to be anything long. And it just helps really rebalance the nervous system. And it actually, yoga has so many benefits for your organs, your digestive system. There's just so many benefits to doing yoga. And it's not, you don't have to like stand on your head yoga. You can be really gentle, but it just has so many positive benefits. And so one supplement I'll talk about that I really love for just like stress, emotional stress, is called ME support. So it's mental emotional support. It's a liquid supplement. So you can either take it orally, or I have some patients of mine take it topically. So I will have them put it on, usually I have them put it on their heart, which is on the left side of your chest here. So you would apply it kind of like an essential oil. It's not an essential oil, but you can apply it topically and it will absorb in the skin. And it just helps so much with stress, feeling more grounded, like in tune with yourself, more present. So that is another one of my favorite tools to help with, this chronic stress. And another tool that I'm going to talk about for a little bit is the Healy. So I've had my Healy for like a year and a half now, and I call it a remote control for my nervous system. So no matter what I'm dealing with, I'm like, oh, I'm going to run a Healy program to help me rebalance my body and put me back into a state of like, I call it homeostasis. So homeostasis is where like everything is in a balance. So as Karen and Kris said, how they have, they were more felt like affected by the full moon and the Mercury in retrograde. To be honest, I really didn't feel that energy. And I would say it has to do with this little device, because I am very empathic. I was very empathic and affected by other people's energies. And this little tool has just helped me to put like a shield around my energy so that I'm not affected by like what other people around me are doing. It's amazing for everything. And, but yeah, it's just, I literally call it a remote control for my nervous system, because if I have any kind of feeling of like anxiousness or, feeling really stressed, I'm like, okay, let me run my Healy. And I know by the time my program finishes, I'm going to feel more grounded, more balanced. And it definitely helped me to be a better mom. I have a almost 4-year-old toddler. So you know how that works with a toddler. So it just helps me to be a more present, grounded mom to him. So this is an amazing tool to help with that as well.
Yeah, I have a Healy. So, but I'm the type of person that doesn't know it's happening. I have to be hit in the head. Like, yeah, I felt that. You hit me in the head, right? So it's very subtle. But if I really stop and think, I'm like, oh, I am a lot calmer than I was. Or, oh, I don't have any seasonal allergy symptoms today. Or ragweed is really, really high, and in the past that was a thing, and it's not a thing right now. So that's yay. I remember I used to say, oh, my allergies. And I had to say, oh, no, they're not my allergies. We're stopping that. Changing our thoughts, right? Changing our thoughts. So yeah, so I am a big fan of the Healy. People ask me, what does it do? I'm like, I don't know. Just do it. I don't know. But as I'm doing it more and utilizing it more, and there's so many programs. There's so many. And it's like, oh, I didn't know they had this. Let me run this. Let me see what this does. So yeah, so I definitely like that. And I have the me. Did I remember to use the me when I was in fight and flight all week? No, I did not. So there's just, yeah, this little journey that we call life is just so fun, right? And it's just, we're on this like, okay, it's like we just do our own research and what works, what doesn't. Here we go. What are we learning? Why did this come into my path? Why did this come into my path? And it's just very, very fun. I like life. Life is good, even when it's not. It's not boring. It's definitely not boring. I cannot say my life is boring.
This is a good reminder about progress, not perfection. Right? You had it, you forgot to take it. Next time you'll probably remember. Right? And you can say, oh, I can't believe I didn't do that. Or you can say, oh, I'll remember for next time. I really am doing the best that I can.
And another interesting thing is, you know, when we see the scale not moving in the direction that we want it to move, what's the hurry? Like, right? I mean, so when we get to the end of the number that we want to see, then the rainbows will come out and the unicorns, or what's going to happen, right? We're still going to be in the same life we have.
That's
you know,
right.
nothing's going to change, right? So what is the hurry? And again, for those of us who have been in large size bodies since we were 5-6 years old, right? And now I'm what, 61. So like, what's the hurry? I've been doing this for 54 years. I'm, you know, one step at a time, one step at a time.
Maybe next episode we'll tap on patience for the journey. I think
good.
that would be good. Okay, so I'm making a note here.
Okay, so all right, next one's, and we're going to do a big tapping session on patience. That'll be good.
Yeah.
And I know that the tapping has been really popular with our audience. And if you guys would just comment and let us, if you gals and guys would just comment and let us know what you're interested in talking about, that would be awesome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll just keep coming, and we're just going to keep doing this every week, or so, or maybe 2 times a week, or maybe every day. Maybe we're going to go live someday. This will be fun. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, Kris. I'm Kara Mars. I'm the I'm the mind. That's so funny that I'm the mind. So I'm the mind, Kris is the spirit, and Alyssa's the body. And look at that body. She works it. You know, she has run a marathon. Just saying.
Nice.
That's impressive. I could run a marathon, maybe.
That was the hardest. I would say that's one of the hardest things. And the Healy actually helped me run the marathon. At the end, I literally turned the Healy on and was wearing it, and I was able to start because I was walking for part of it, and I started running again after I ran the Healy. So I don't ever really talk about that, but the Healy was so profound in my marathon because I turned it on and I started running, and that's how I finished.
You ran with the Healy. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
With the Healy, ran with the Healy.
And I have one too. I'm part of the club. Just wanted to let everybody know.
And on that note, let's go run to our lives. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, Kris. I'm Kara Mars. Bye.